DJ right in your face.
Welcome back to the Faedaway podcast, episode number 21. This episode is brought to you guys by Ball is Life Podcast Network. I'm your host, Fetty. I got Zaid here with me. Zaid, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Big 21. Big 21.
Who's
number 21?
Grievous Vasquez.
That's the first thing that came to my mind, too. Yeah. Grievous Vasquez. Joel Embiid, 21?
Matt Thomas?
Yeah, but who cares? Who cares about Matt Thomas?
Oh, but I thought we were just talking Raptors.
Oh, Raptors not talking about anybody.
Kevin Garnett?
Kevin Garnett's a big one, yeah. Damn. There's legendary 21s, actually.
Yeah, big time.
Tim Duncan? 21?
No.
That could 12. Be tripping. 12. Reverse.
Hey, come on, man.
There we go.
Oh.
It's been a long week. We got some gloomy rain today.
I mean, it's only Monday, but it's been a long Monday.
Well, long week last week, especially for Raptors fans too, a little bit. But gloomy day today. Gloomy Monday, raining. But we're back here, ready to pod, ready to talk about the Raptors and the NBA.
The Faedaway's 50% vaxxed up now.
You're vaxxed?
I'm vaxxed. I mean, 33%.
Actually, 33% vaxxed.
33% vaxxed.
You're one of the lucky. You're one of the lucky ones. You got your vax. I actually had to wait 2.5 hours to book my vaccine today.
Mm-hmm.
For
Americans are probably listening like,
what are they talking about?
Book? Wait.
The first vaccine.
Lockdown? Man, shout out to Doug Ford, man. Great guy. Who was that guy that we like? It wasn't Action Bronson. Matty Matheson.
Yeah. He's
Matty Matheson had a great message for Doug Ford that I think Doug should really listen to.
On Joe Rogan's pod, if you haven't heard it, go check it out for sure.
Yeah, but man, there's been a vax craze in the southern GTA right now, in southern Ontario.
Yeah.
In the GTA. Mm-hmm. Everyone, I think DJ was saying like 450,000 people ahead of him in line this morning.
Yeah, me too. That's what it was like for me too. I had 2.5 hour wait.
Everyone, it's literally like it's a famine and somebody showed up with a truck of food and everyone was just like, please give me, I want.
The best thing that I heard was there's a Vaccine Hunters Twitter account.
Yeah.
Which is, I think,
those
is hilarious.
Those people are dope though because they're like doing this strictly for community. There's no money
for this stuff. It's just out of the kindness of their own heart somehow. But I thought it was hilarious. I actually went on the Twitter account. I was looking. It was just hilarious. They point out clinics that have extra vaccines or vaccines available
around the country too.
And they let you know where they're at and how many they have left and what kind it is too, in case you're curious about what kind it is. Hilarious. I think that's amazing.
I think everyone is curious about what kind it is.
Oh, there's no doubt. If you say you're not curious, you're a liar.
It's the first question.
No way.
It's, hey, you got the vaccine. What kind? It's not like, hey, how did it go? How was the wait? How was the registration? Did it hurt? How's your arm? And then which kind?
Bro, that's going to be the number one conversation starter for the next 5 years.
Bro, and yeah, for sure. And it's going to be one of those things I feel like you're going to have a tick on your passport. It's like whichever one you got, and then all the AZs, everyone's going to check your passport and if you get
they're going to be judged?
Cut eye. But anyways, enough of this dumb COVID chat because I'm trying to get out of this COVID lifestyle.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter
to you, to everybody who celebrates Orthodox Easter.
Mm-hmm.
That was, Sunday was a great day. It was a nice celebration, with a little family stuff. So,
it's usually easier to explain when it's 2 weeks apart from the regular Easter.
Yeah,
but now it's a whole month. They're like, did you guys just wait? Did you hope that restrictions would be up?
We had worse restrictions actually for ours. I'm pretty sure
the calendar was just on one this year.
But let's get into some NBA basketball. Let's start with the Toronto Raptors, none other than the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah. Another 10-game week.
A 5-game week after having a 1 or maybe 2-game week the week before. Definitely a tough week in their schedule. They went 2-3 on the week, but they went up against the Cavaliers, the Nets, Denver, Utah, and the Lakers. The 2 wins coming against the Cavaliers and against the Lakers last night.
First and last games.
I saw a bunch of things this week, a bunch of different things. A lot of guys were in and out of the lineup. The likes of OG, the likes of Fred VanVleet. Pascal got a bunch of run. Kem Birch got a bunch of run. Kyle Lowry got a bunch of run, which I'm sure I know you're going to comment on. But overall, honestly, not a terrible week when you look at the schedule. 2-3, I don't think they're going to get better than that. You're going against a Brooklyn team who can turn it on whenever they want. You go against Denver, who has been hot, which we'll talk about later on today.
The Jazz,
who have been very good all season, who We're missing Donovan Mitchell, I'm pretty sure, for that game, but still managed to pull that game out.
And really have been losing every other game around that one.
Right,
But
other than the
that's
Raptors.
besides the point.
But not a bad week for the Raptors. I think there's definitely things that we can address this week. I'm going to start with Kyle Lowry because, honestly, Kyle Lowry did have a pretty good week compared to the rest of the season, compared to other weeks. Last night, he erupted for 37, I think it was, 37 and 11. The bear was poked yesterday. There was a fan heckling him in Staples, and he went at them. Right, so
do you know why they were heckling? Or
I don't know what
saying?
I don't know what he was saying.
I heard that he was telling them like something along the lines of like, "You guys wouldn't give up Horton Tucker for me," like something like kind of that. I don't want to be quoted. I'm just seeing stuff on Twitter.
Yo, honestly though, like,
but
the way he played,
that is a point of contention.
The
like,
way he played though,
you didn't give up Taylor Horton Tucker and KCP to get Kyle Lowry, and I mean, right now they're probably kicking themselves
for sure after that
because
performance.
Not only is LeBron like he needs help,
he's tired,
but his window is also like LeBron next year could be a very different. And I know you never want to bet against LeBron, but
yeah.
The guy himself said it. He's like, I'm never going to be 100% again. I don't know what to feel about that. You know, LeBron likes to set up, the
nice narratives, the narratives.
He likes the narratives and all that, but he is getting old. I mean, he's 36 going on 37, and he does a lot on the court, so it takes a toll. And I think that right now they could have definitely used Kyle Lowry, but that's besides the point. I'll let you continue from here.
They could have definitely used Kyle Lowry, especially the way he was playing. A guy to uplift your team. Just a little brief highlight of Kyle Lowry's week against the Nets. 24 and 37 minutes, 24 points in 37 minutes. He went 8 of 14, efficient. Kyle Lowry against the Denver Nuggets had 25 and 7 in 33 minutes, 7 of 16 shooting.
20 points, 5 rebounds.
Yeah, sorry, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 7 of 16 shooting, 5 of 10 from 3. And then last night he just absolutely explodes, 12 of 20 from the field, 8 of 13 from 3, 37 and 11 in 40 minutes. Bear was poked last night. I know within that 5-game span he did have a poor game. I think, I'm not sure if it was the Utah game.
It was the Cleveland game.
It was the Cleveland game where he only had 2 points.
He still had 10 assists.
Yeah, so
but he had 9 points, 3 of 9 from the field.
Right, so he made up for it in other ways, but didn't shoot quite well, and he definitely redeemed himself. As some people in the fantasy group will say, the revenge game was yesterday. He definitely redeemed himself. As much as I love Lowry playing well, and it's great for the team, it led to a win yesterday, which is great. The minutes is something still for us, not even to debate, but just to merely talk about. Like I said, Tuesday against the Nets, 37 minutes. Sunday against the Jazz, he put up, where are we at? 35 minutes, and then yesterday he played 40 minutes. It's going to be taxing on him, man. It's going to be very, very taxing on his body. At this point, he's playing for next year's contract, and I don't think he needs to play 40, 35 minutes to prove that he can be a contributing person or factor on a championship team. I think everybody already knows that, and we all know that. In terms of the team, I'm okay with him playing those minutes right now when Fred VanVleet is out, or if Malachi Flynn is out, which he never really is, but only in the case where Fred VanVleet is out. If all three are healthy, I want to see some more even minutes distributed amongst that point guard position. I don't know about you.
I mean, I still think with Fred out, you could still distribute more minutes to a guy like Bembry.
Yes.
Because he's often forgotten. So we'll talk about that. But you brought up the fantasy group and how they brought up, the Lowry stuff and Peter and John. And, you have to say sorry and apologize.
Yeah, they were begging for you to apologize.
I should apologize. So I am sorry that you're incapable of watching objective Raptors basketball. And I'm sorry that you have no clue that this man is 37 years old, deteriorating on the court in front of you, that he's not likely to come back next year. And at the end of the day, we're not even developing the guys that are coming back next year. So I don't know why Kyle Lowry in any world is playing 40 minutes with 10 games left in the season, and you're 3 games out of a playoff spot. You're 3 games out of a play-in spot.
Play-in.
Okay? So you're sitting 12th, and Lowry's playing 40 minutes against the Lakers. Oh, Fred VanVleet was out. Okay, sure. Let's take a look at the minutes. Actually, you know what? The Lakers game, I'm not even going to fret because they were distributed evenly given whatever.
They were pretty
and they
good,
ended up
didn't
winning. And they ended up winning the game. So let's go back because yes, they lost to Brooklyn, who has every ability to turn it up.
Yeah.
They lost to Denver, who's a hot team, and they lost to Utah. And it just so happened that they led all three of these games up until the fourth quarter.
They let it slip.
Until, they got tired.
Yeah.
That's my take, at least.
Yeah.
Until they got tired. So let's look at the Brooklyn Nets minutes distribution. So off the bench, Malachi Flynn had 20 minutes. The second highest guy was Utah Watanabe at 18. Then we have Gillespie 11. Nobody else in double digits. So now we have your starters. Van Vliet played 42 minutes. Lowry 37. And Siakam 31, and Siakam 35. He had 10 points in that game, and Anunoby 31. And then you have Flynn 20, and nobody else in the 20s. And I mean, let's see, Bembry 4 minutes, Rodney Hood, DMP CD, Stanley Johnson 7 minutes, Freddie Gillespie 11 minutes. Okay, I mean, sure. I'm not gonna say Gillespie should get more minutes. He's still fresh, but you're telling me that DeAndre Bembry,
who has been a very good contributor especially this week,
Bembry
he did a
couldn't
lot.
earn more than 4 minutes against the Brooklyn Nets, but Fred VanVleet had to play 42.
Yeah.
You're telling me that Stanley Johnson, it looked like OG played 31 minutes. Let's see the foul trouble situation. No, he had 3 fouls. I don't know how early he got them, but whatever. You're telling me that Stanley Johnson couldn't break out more than 7 minutes, and each of your starters is playing at least 35? Like, there's something missing here, bro. Okay? That's Brooklyn. What was the next game after that? Denver, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at Denver. Okay, first things first. First guy off the bench, Utah Watanabe, 18 points, 18 minutes. And then you have Bembry, 13 minutes, increased a little bit. Rodney Hood, 12. Gillespie, 12. Stanley Johnson, 10. So now you have a group of 5 guys playing anywhere between 13 to 15. And then Kyle Lowry, 33, 34, 32, 36, 31. So it's 30s, 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 teens.
Right.
I don't know why we have to go through this every single week, and why this guy just started last year in the bubble. And it's funny because we started out as having one of the best benches, which is now our starting lineup. So our bench production was actually what made us what we are. And then fast forward, he's now just riding the starters. Last year in the playoffs against the Celtics, 7-game series, he rode the starters to their death.
The most concerning thing, I mean, in a playoff series, I understand. You want to ride your starters. Bench definitely does help.
He messed it up.
Having a productive bench definitely does help, and you absolutely need a productive bench in the playoffs. You want to ride your starters in the playoffs a little bit. That's fine. You're playing life or death. It's either you're in or you're out. You're winning or you're losing, or you're going home, right? So you want to ride the starters out. Fine. I appreciate that. Go ahead and do it. What I'm just confused about right now is Fred VanVleet is playing 42 minutes one game and then sitting out from a hip injury the next game. And it's what are we really doing to help him? Whether it's he's actually injured and he needs to heal, or whether he's actually just sitting down just because there's no need for him to be playing this much. Regardless, if you're sitting him out, you don't need to be playing him 42 minutes the game before, or 41 minutes the game after, or 40 minutes and the next game. That's not. I don't think it's going to do anything for him for his rhythm. I don't think it's going to do anything for him for his conditioning. He needs to sit out. He needs to heal. He needs to be 100%. You want to give him some rhythm minutes? Give him 25 minutes a game. Give him 30 minutes a game. Because at this point, you're 2 games out of a play-in spot, like we said. It doesn't look good for you because the schedule is pretty tough. It doesn't look like you're going to be a playoff team this year.
And you're competing to play Brooklyn or Philly.
Exactly. So you're competing. You're shooting yourself in the foot. What I do like, and I do think the minutes need to go down a little bit, but I do like Pascal getting run because Pascal's healthy. Pascal needs the run. Pascal needs to develop. Let him take that run. I like giving OG the run because OG is healthy. OG needs the run. He's proven that he can really be a great offensive weapon when he gets the minutes and he gets the touches. So I'm okay with those minutes. Kyle Lowry minutes, we don't need him to play 35 to 40 minutes. I'd rather take him down to 32, 33 and give the extra 7 minutes to Malachi Flynn, who, by the way, is going to be here next year, who's probably going to be your backup point guard next year, who is going to need to be able to lead an offense next year. So you should probably invest some time in him so that next year he's ready.
Bembry's very capable.
Bembry is extremely capable, and I've been saying that all year. And I thought he gave great minutes in the Utah game, and he played a lot of the first half. I think he got the majority of his minutes in the first half, and then Nick Nurse rode the starters in the second half, and the lead slipped away from the starters because they're tired. You're playing guys 40 minutes off back-to-backs. You're playing guys
5 games in a week.
You're giving them 37-plus minutes. They're going to be tired. Kem Birch Bro, even Kem Birch is tired. Kem Birch has been playing 30-plus minutes since he's gotten to the Raptors, and sometimes he's in the high 30s. Yesterday he went 1 for 6.
Yeah,
and
he
only
was
played
4
26 minutes last game. 29
minutes. Yeah.
Because he's tired. His legs are heavy. He didn't play in Orlando. He didn't have the conditioning in Orlando. Stop running these guys into the ground. It makes zero sense for you to keep on doing this in a losing situation.
Look at Gillespie's stat line. In 10 less minutes, he had more points and just 2 less rebounds. 11.7 rebounds. Like, we have guys. There's
guys available.
Look, Bembry in that Lakers game last night got 24 minutes, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals.
Mm-hmm.
This is right there. The proof is in the pudding, Nicholas.
And it's not saying that Gillespie's better than Kem Birch at all. It's just saying there's guys who are available and guys who are ready to contribute. You don't have to rely on your starters, on your 5 starters every single night to play 40-plus minutes, 35-plus minutes when you get tired.
And this is because I mentioned John earlier, but John responded to our tweet about the minutes thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what's Nick Nurse supposed to do?
Right. We should put that tweet up just so you can see it.
We'll put it up.
We'll put it up.
He's like, what's Nick Nurse supposed to do? He's the coach. He's supposed to figure it out. He's supposed to look at his roster, see who he has, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and figure out how to play people in a more, inclusive. I don't want to say inclusive, but a more balanced.
You're supposed to set your guys up for success. If that means giving them less minutes so that they can be more productive, that means giving them less minutes. If that means giving guys on the bench more run so that they can be more productive, that means giving them more run. The guys on the bench have proven that when they're freer and the coach trusts them, they can play well and they can contribute.
Yeah.
And they've done that throughout the season where the leash isn't short. But once Nick Nurse yanks them for no reason or for one bad shot or for one miss, the confidence is gone. The minutes are gone. They're not going to look forward to playing the game because they're going to be scared every time they're on the court. So the minutes, we can harp on and on about the minutes. I think that's what's being. That's what's
I
the
honestly
Achilles
think it's
heel.
losing them games.
That's what I'm saying. That's what is the Achilles heel for the Raptors. They're just tired at the end of games. They've had poor shooting nights this week because there's just no legs. They shot 40% in one of the games. I'll get it for you right now. They shot 40%. I think it was against Brooklyn. They shot 40%. You can't afford to shoot 40% from the field against Brooklyn because they're going to outscore you, even if they play poor defense. If they're not a great defensive team, but if you're not going to be shooting well, you're giving them the game. Mm-hmm. You're handing it to them. So you can't afford to have heavy legs. You can't afford, especially in this compact season where you're playing 5 games in 7 nights, where you're playing back-to-back so often. You can't afford to be riding these guys 40 minutes plus.
Yeah, so one thing you mentioned now is the efficiency in the shooting. And you tweeted this earlier this week from our account. You said Pascal needs a shot in his game because he's so unmatched size-wise. In terms of he's too small for the 4s that he goes up against. Mm-hmm. He needs a shot.
It was against AD.
Okay,
but he did well against AD. I don't think it was. I don't think it was against AD that I tweeted that. But a lot of times there are times where he's too small at the 4, but he did well.
He
against
needs
AD.
to develop a jump shot.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to show you. I saw this on Twitter. This is field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, 2-point percentage, and effective field goal percentage.
Yeah.
So 2018. So we're gonna go field goal percentage first. 2018-19. Pascal was 55% from the field. Mm-hmm. This year, he's 45%. So that's a 10% decrease.
It's been tough.
3% 2018, 37%. This year, 30%. That's a 7% decrease. Mm-hmm. 2-point, he went from 60% in 2018 to 51 this year. So 602, 505 will round that 10% decrease.
Yeah, we'll see.
And then his effective field goal percentage went down from 59 to 49%. Another 10%. And these are drastic drops. And I get it. 2018. You
had Kawhi.
Okay, so it's
tough, man.
So 1920 is in here.
Yeah.
And
where you're the number one guy. That's also all-star season that season.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie to you. The numbers are similar. There are a bit of drops. Like, for example, his 3-point percentage went from 36 to 30. That's a pretty significant drop.
That's a big drop. That's a big drop.
His 2-point percent went from 59 to 51 the year he was the guy, and then 51 down to 49. So not that bad, but you're still going down in your 2-point percentage. You're still going down in your effective field goal. You're going down 6% in your 3-point shot. There's got to be some sort of accountability.
There definitely needs to be accountability, and I think the issue is nobody wants to give accountability to the players or to the coach. And when we call out guys like, people are like, oh, you're hating, it's slander. No, there's stats right there telling you that there's been drops. There's things when you watch the game that you see, you're like, yo, Pascal could have made that shot last year. Pascal made a name off of the corner three and now can't shoot the corner three.
Yeah.
So there's things happening right in front of you that show that we're just giving accountability to guys. Now, do I think this the stats tell the full story? No. 1 year you have Kawhi, you're shooting less, you're playing less. You're
defenses aren't focusing on you.
And defenses aren't focused on you. So it's going to get harder as you become the main guy. Am I mad at the percentages? Yeah, they're a bit low. Pascal, and I tweeted this too, Pascal shows you signs that he can be a star every few games. Every 3 or 4 games, he'll bust out a 37.9, 39.9 like he did yesterday. Yesterday, I was like, this matchup with him and AD at the 4 is so unfair. Luckily for Pascal, AD was coming back from injury. He's a bit slow, didn't look comfortable at all. And Pascal was shooting well, shooting mid-range jump shots, shooting threes, getting to the basket. He was playing so well, and you saw glimpses of his stardom. But sometimes you just don't see it, and sometimes the shots don't seem to fall for him, or he just doesn't seem like he knows what his game is yet. And that's where the issue lies. The issue lies is that he's never consistent over a solid stretch or a big sample size of games. It's either 1 every 3 games he'll give you a star performance, and nothing else other than that. He doesn't give you a 10-game stretch where he's playing like this for 10 straight games. And that's where the issue lies. If you're going to be the number one guy, if you're going to be the guy, I don't mind at all. I think Pascal has the tools. I think he's got the great size, great body, great athleticism. He can look a bit uncoordinated at times, which is okay. He's not raw, but he's still learning. But he's got all the tools to be a star, and he can do it. I just don't think it's been there for him this season, and he has a lot of work to do.
And I mean, yesterday against the Lakers, he had a fantastic game.
He looked great.
He was shooting the ball in the Atlantic Ocean, like they say. And I'm not expecting him to give us 36 every night, but I think Pascal can figure out a way to get you 26 to 27 points a night. At the end of the day, he's still a mismatch for a lot of the guys that he goes up against.
He's quicker than them and more athletic than all of them.
Like we're talking about the mismatch on one end. He's also a mismatch offensively. He just needs to focus this summer on, and you know what? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because the last 2 years, I don't really know if there was an off season and how long the off season and travel restrictions and bubble and being away from the family. I'll be like, and that's why I think it's not bad to not make the play-in. I think that it's
a great break.
This off season is good for everyone to just get everything back to normal.
Yeah,
figure out your living situation again, where you're going to be next year. Hopefully, they have a better idea. But I mean, I am going to give him the benefit of the doubt this year, but he's got to really step it up next year. Because it's been almost 2 years now of this mediocre basketball from the main guy.
Yeah,
and number 2, and honestly, most importantly, is he's not young. He's 27, 28. So if you waste another year,
where we're going to go from here?
We're going to wait till he's 29 to change his style of play.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's got to happen quickly.
I don't think he doesn't need to change his style of play. He just needs to have more offensive tools. You can't rely on matchups to dictate or determine whether you're going to be effective tonight or not. Last night he had Montrezl Harrell guarding him. Montrezl Harrell isn't a good one-on-one defender. Montrezl he's a hustle and great guy. Decent rim protector, but
he's a terrible defender.
He's a terrible one-on-one defender, and Pascal ate his food.
They got exposed last year against the Nuggets.
Pascal, exactly, and Pascal cooked him yesterday, so it was an easy matchup for Pascal. AD wasn't really guarding him. AD didn't play much. It was an easy matchup for Pascal to take advantage of yesterday. This needs to be something he does every single game. You look like, I hate to draw comparisons, and we didn't draw this comparison last week, but we talked about it. Julius Randle, same thing, 4 spot, new star, just budding. Just becoming a great star in this league. He does this every night. He hasn't really had many off nights this season. That's what Pascal needs to really go towards.
Mind you, Julius is getting far more attention defensively because he doesn't have a Fred VanVleet. He doesn't have a Kyle Lowry on his team. I'm not saying that we have a great team, but you still have guys that can score. You still, New York has got Reggie Bullock and Emmanuel Quickly. Emmanuel Quickly's still a very young guy. D-Rose coming off their bench.
Yeah.
They got RJ Barrett, who's not really much of a shooter.
I think the Raptors have better tools, better guys around Pascal than the Knicks do.
I just think Julius has a harder
I agree.
challenge, and he's coming up big. We're not asking you to be a all-star starter, but man, you don't go from all-star starter to not even all-star.
Yeah. And it's not only that, it's not only the offensive end, it's the defensive end. He could not keep Bogdanovich in front of him against Utah. Zero chance.
Which is funny because Bojan doesn't even move. He only stays in front of you. He just shoots.
He's a shooter. And if you can't guard a shooter, what are you doing? And Julius Randle, we're gonna keep on making this comparison because I think it's a great benchmark for Pascal to aim for. Julius Randle is on a defensive-minded team. If you don't play defense, you're gonna get called out by your coach. You're not gonna play. And for Julius Randle to be able, I'm not saying he's a stellar defender, but for him to be able to hold his own on defense and contribute like the way he's been doing on offense, Pascal needs to do the same thing.
If you could have one thing Pascal could come back next year with, what would be the one thing? Like, forget everything else. Just the one thing that you think would be the most beneficial to improve.
I'm not going to say defense because team defense has been poor this year. I think that's a Nick Nurse thing. I'm going to say shooting. He needs to shoot. And when I say shooting, it's got to be from everywhere on the floor. Mid-range, 3-point, close to the basket. You need to be able to diversify your offensive game. So I know he's good in the paint. I know he's great in the paint. I know he takes advantage of small guys on him, mismatches offensively. But once you have guys who can really guard and are locking you up, you need to be able to shoot. That's my thing. I don't know about you.
Yeah. So to your point, I heard. I think it was the Julius Randle interview, but there was an interview about, and I think I'm gonna say it was Julius Randle, but he was talking about like the difference between last year and this year for him, or all the last years and this year. He's like, I never had a middle game. He's like, I had a 3 game,
yep,
and I had a post game.
Yep.
I never had they call it the tweener game. And like,
it's a mid-range game.
If you actually like rewind 10 years, being a tweener was like a disadvantage. And that's what Draymond Green talks about. He's like, I was labeled a tweener, meaning I was too small to be a center,
yeah,
but I was like too big to be a guard.
Yeah.
And there was a point in time, Tyler Hansbrough, Kelly Olynyk, all these guys, right? There was a time where that was a disadvantage, right?
Kelly's killing it, by the way.
Kelly is killing it, absolutely.
Shout out to Kelly.
But to that point, like, you need that in-between game, right? So, like you said, exactly. But for
Listen, man. Sorry, before we talk about the tween game, we talk about the mid-range game, that not 3 but not to the basket game. You look at all the stars in this league, all the star wings, all the star guards, they can all shoot mid-range jump shots. They're really good. Like, I'm talking about the Paul Georges, the Kawhi Leonards,
Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown,
Lillard. These
CJ
guys,
McCollum.
when they don't get the space to shoot the 3, or when they're covered up, when we got maybe a double team or something like that, playing them all the way up at the 3-point line, they can pull up and shoot a mid-range. You need a mid-range game to be able to be a star in this league because it's honestly a go-to shot for a lot of players. I know a lot of people have said it. I mean, science or whatever, the analytics say it's not a good shot. All the stars in the league have a mid-range game unless you're just that dominant, like maybe like a Giannis that you can just power over people.
Yeah.
If you don't have that power, you need a mid-range game.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. And for me, if I could have one thing from him, as much as I want it to be like a 40% 3-point percentage, I would say the number one thing is I want him to come back next year at least 20 to 25 pounds heavier.
Ooh.
I want to see yoked Pascal. Yeah. Joel Embiid is from the same country, and the man was a stick
when he came in.
Can we put up a
rookie picture?
Joel Embiid?
A rookie. I'll put up
Joel
a rookie.
Embiid was a stick.
Yeah.
And he put on some heavyweight. Shaq was a stick.
But you're talking about
when
centers.
he came into the league. Bro.
Fives? You're talking about fives.
Okay, fine. Forget Shaq. But I said Joel because they're from the same country. So you should be able to get it done, bro. Like, that's it. It's genetic. Like, you have to be able to get that. But I think 20 to 25 pounds of muscle, man.
I don't know if
that's a lot.
That's a lot.
I'll
10
say
to 15. 10 to 15.
10 to 15, whatever.
15.
Peter can give us his expert opinion on how much is the perfect amount to gain. But I think if Pascal gets yoked, stronger, it'll A, give him confidence, B, it'll help his post game immensely. And how many times do we see him just like finishing so weak at the rim, like
going away or
finger
diving.
roll or falling over? No. I think Pascal needs to get a little bit bigger because right now he is looking a little bit like a too small to be a big, too big to be a guard kind of guy.
Yeah.
In an awkward way though. So I think maybe a little bit more muscle and just practice in the off season, bro. And
before we move on from Raptors,
I want to see yoked Pascal. That'll be jokes.
That'd be can you imagine? That would be impressive. Before we move on from Raptors basketball, quick shout out to a bunch of guys who have been killing it. And I don't want to make it a quick shout out, honestly. I actually want to talk about it a little bit. OG Anunoby. PK, that was a great investment you made in an OG jersey a few years ago. We kind of were like, Kiro, I don't know if you should get this OG jersey. I don't know. He was still young.
I was there.
I was a bit questionable or questioning that decision. I think earlier this year when he signed that deal, we're like, "You're a great investment, buddy." That's like that jersey's gonna last you a while.
The funny thing is, it had more to do with Chance the Rapper than it did OG.
He didn't even like OG. I don't know if he even liked OG that much.
Think
it was a
OG
3.
He just happened to be number 3.
Exactly, but
Allen
Iverson. There we go. But listen, OG's been killing it this week, man. He had 20-5 in 32 minutes against the Cleveland Cavaliers, 21-6-6 in 32 minutes against the Nets, shooting 9 of 15. Against the Nuggets, 25 points, 5 of 5 from the free throw line, and 4 for 8 from 3. So he's just playing efficient basketball. A lot of people say he can't dribble.
He's playing with a lot of consistency too.
Playing very consistent. A lot of people say he can't dribble. I know that's the biggest knock on him. I've seen some takes where he's driven to the basket and been able to body guys out of the way and
Where he
finish.
crossed up KD and dunked on him too in the Brooklyn game.
That too, but nobody wants to talk about that. I get it. He's still a bit raw in his ball handling skills. Once again, every player has something they can work on. Against Utah, he had 17 points in 40 minutes. Not that great of a game. He went 7 of 17 from the field. But I will give him a pass on that because he's been pretty stellar all season. He's made that jump this season. I really think so. And I think it's been kind of clouded by the Raptors' lack of success. I said I think he needs to average 15 to 17 points a game to make this contract worth it. I think he's right there. I think he's averaging maybe 17 on the season.
I don't know. He had a pretty slow start. So outside of that slow start, he's been
killing
overplaying his value.
For the most part, he's been defending all 5 positions. He's been really active on defense, and you have to love how he's been able to lock down guys. I saw a bunch of videos on Twitter about him locking down Kemba Walker, who was not an easy guard, especially at the size difference, the speed difference, the quickness difference. It's tough to stay in front of a guy like that.
By the way, prior to the Utah game, he had 6 straight 20-point games, 20-plus point games.
And that's what I'm talking about. He's really made that leap, shooting efficiently from 3. He's able to put the ball on the floor better this year, and I think he's going to only improve from that aspect. Next year, I'm excited for that trio of Fred VanVleet, Pascal, and OG if they're healthy.
And Gary Trent. You throw him in the starting lineup. Hopefully, hopefully you bring him back in general. That's the biggest thing. So that's my OG love. I don't know if you have any OG love that's different from mine. Yeah, no, I mean, OG, I was saying from the beginning of the year, I think we got him for a steal, and I think he's going to definitely outgrow his contract. Because I'm telling you right now, if OG played this season and was up for extension this summer,
it would have been a way different story.
I just think he would.
Yeah.
Maybe you get into the whole discussion of the list of free agents, whatever, but a guy at that size, with that defensive ability, with that 40% from 3, and your clutch represented, you're going to get more money
that's true.
after the year he just had. So I definitely think we got him for a steal. There's no question there. Mm-hmm. I guess Raptors love I want to give out is DeAndre Bembry because for a guy who has been through the ringer, really, one game you're getting 3 minutes, one game you're not playing at all. He's always ready to game, and he's always ready to come out and play hard. And that was what I loved seeing, like the ball movement against the Lakers last night. He's an incredible passer. A lot of people don't really.
I love it.
I don't think that. I feel like that's an underappreciated part of his game is his he's smart. His vision on the court and his passing ability.
He's so smart. His IQ. He always knows where to be. He knows where the ball should be.
He's explosive. Remember that one take last night? He just
to the rim.
Just broke right to the rim. Like it was. I mean, Bembry is a guy who I think should be at least the second guy off the bench consistently, if not the first guy off the bench.
Right.
I get it. Depends on who's healthy. Depends on the lineup and all that. But there's no reason for there to be a healthy team or even a non-healthy team where he gets 4 minutes, 7 minutes a night. DeAndre Bembry's a much better player than that. And I honestly think it's disrespectful.
And he's active defensively too, man. He's not a small. He's 6'5", 6'6", big frame. Mm-hmm. Knows how to play defense. Can really bother a lot of guards when they're handling the ball. And he's just so smart. He knows where to be all the time, and he knows where to where to cut to all the time. He knows where to be. He knows where to be, how to space the floor for other guys on the court. So, I think I agree with you. He should be an upper echelon bench kind of guy. Maybe not second. I mean, depends who's coming off the bench. When Chris Boucher's healthy and playing, he's a great bench guy to have. Malachi Flynn is a great bench guy to have. But right up there with him I think should be Bembry. I think he should be getting minutes over Stanley, over Yuta. I think as well. As much as we love Yuta, I think Bembry is just so much more polished, so much more confident. Knows where to be. Knows where to be in the offense.
And he's always ready.
He's always ready. Always ready to hoop.
For sure.
Couple more things before we finish. We gave some love to Gillespie. I'll reiterate that love. I don't know if I think we already congratulated him on the 2-year deal.
Yeah.
So that's very well earned by him. He's been playing great in his limited minutes. Shown a lot of great signs, man. He's very active, knows how to cut. I think he's getting more comfortable, and I don't think he exactly grasps the Raptors' offense yet.
Or NBA basketball.
Or NBA basketball, yeah. But I think he's getting better with
for
every
sure.
game.
I mean, if you can put up 11 and 7 being discombobulated in an NBA game against the Lakers too, like I think that you have a bright future, especially coming from where he came from. But I want to transition from the Raptors because I want to talk a little.
Last quick love, Kem Birch.
Oh yeah,
Kem Birch.
It's like career highs this week.
Career
right?
highs multiple times this week. Been playing extremely well. Nick Nurse challenged him to be able to actually bring up the ball after getting the rebound. To do more, and he's done that. I think he doesn't play too much out of himself out of his role when he does bring up the ball. He's had a few times where he's been able to bring up the ball, lead a fast break. I know one game, one of the passes against Utah led to a Wanabe dunk, which is beautiful. But yeah, Birch has been balling.
He had 17, 11, and 6 in one of those games.
Despite the last game against the Lakers, he's extremely tired. I understand it. I'm going to give him the pass on that because he has not underperformed in any game he's played since joining the Raptors. He's earned that starting 5 position, and he's proven that he can hold it down. Yeah. And the Raptors look very good with him at the 5. So appreciate you, Kem.
Absolutely. Let's move on. From the Raptors. Let's talk some play-in action because the Lakers are now 7th in the Western Conference, which
or 5th,
means
depending how you look at it. They're tied. They're three-way tie.
What I saw was that they have the tiebreaker lost, and they're sitting in 7th.
Oh, okay.
So let's assume they're in 7th. Yeah, right now they're in 7th for the sake of this argument.
Okay.
Last night after they lost, and presumably the Kang found out that they were 7th, he went and he goes, why don't we just chop the season short, let the last 4 or 5 teams play each other 5 times, figure the standings out from there. Why do we, after playing a whole season,
need to do a play-in? I
agree with that portion. I'm not going to lie to you. I do agree with it because I do think that, you play all year to get your positioning. And, for example, in the West, it's a little tighter. But, in the East, the 7th seed is probably – let's check it out. There's no need for probabilities here.
The issue is for the 7th and the 8th seed. Why do I have to prove –
the 10th seed and the 7th seed are 6 games apart.
Yeah, it's
and now you're giving – the 10th seed equal opportunity as the one 6 games better. I think that maybe if you want to do it, implement it as we're going to have a play-in if you're within a certain amount of games, which would make it a little bit more fair. But regardless, he goes, whoever created this thing needs to get fired. Yeah. So he's clearly a little bit mad.
That's wild.
He's mad.
Yeah.
Last week, Dallas dropped to 7th. Mark Cuban was mad about the play-in.
They're all mad about the play-in. Yeah, they're all mad about it. Yeah.
But you signed off on this before you came.
Mark Cuban, not LeBron.
All of them. The NBPA signed off on this. Yeah. And who's going to sign the NBPA without LeBron's backing? You need to make your money. You understand that. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But you're working and you're making millions of dollars. You want to talk unfortunate in COVID? Let's start talking unfortunate, LeBron. You're still playing. You signed off on this deal. And that's what I don't like about these guys. There's no surprise here.
You've known about this.
It's not like Adam Silver came out last week and was like, playing.
Yeah.
Come on. You signed off on it. You knew this was coming. Is it the best thing? I personally don't think so, but a lot of people will tell you it's great for the product because now
it is great.
There's so many less teams dogging it. Because think about it. Even now, there's teams dogging it. The Raptors, I'm watching every game because I love the Raptors, but they're not playing for the playoffs.
There's no sense of hope.
and the Raptors are probably on the questionable side. You have a team like not Golden State. Who's Sacramento?
Yeah.
These guys aren't playing for the play-in, bro. Who? Why am I blanking? Who's the bottom of the conference? The Pelicans.
In the West?
Pelicans they're not playing for no play-in.
They've got some great performers though. It's hilarious.
Right now, the Rockets, Thunder, and the Wolves are
at the bottom,
eliminated already.
Yeah.
None of their games matter.
Yeah.
The Thunder aren't even playing Lou Dort, and I think they have the worst team in NBA history.
Yeah.
But whatever, Sacramento, Pelicans, all these teams, there's no, it's better. Because, look, the Pelicans are 11th. Mm-hmm. They're 3 games or 2.5 games out. If they're 11th right now with no play-in, do you think they care about this league?
No, I don't know.
But now you have the 11th seed.
You have a chance.
Fighting. Yeah. You have the 10th seed fighting. So, yes, it does make the product a little bit more interesting. I think it's a lot of fatigue. maybe in a regular season where you're not playing 5 games a week, it could be a little bit better.
Yeah.
But what do you think about LeBron's comments, man? Like, first of all, last week or a couple weeks ago, he made that comment of like, "You're next." Then he deleted his tweet about the police officer. We're not going to get into that at all.
No.
But then he deletes the tweet. But then he caught a lot of criticism for like, "Yo, you can't just speak out like this and say this about people." Like, whatever. Fast forward a couple weeks, whoever created this should be fired. It just sounds like a big baby to me. I want to hear your opinion, but it just sounds like a lot of complaining coming from the Kang.
We talk about this stuff from a fan's perspective, and very rarely do we ever look at it from a player's perspective. You know, Kang, obviously, fighting injuries. Yesterday, he looked awful.
Yeah.
Against the Raptors.
Since he's come back.
He's looked awful. I think you said it when we were watching yesterday. He's like, LeBron just looks old. Like, he's just moving.
He runs old.
He's moving old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, from LeBron's perspective, I understand it. It is pretty lame to have to play this short season, 72 games, I think it is, and then add on extra games. From LeBron's perspective, I think it sucks. It sucks to have to play essentially overtime. It also sucks, to be honest, for the teams that are in the 7th and 8th seed, because in any other season, I'm in the playoffs. Yeah. Why do I have to keep on fighting for a playoff spot? Mm-hmm. I don't need to prove that I need to earn a playoff spot because I'm the 7th and the 8th seed. I shouldn't need to be playing the 9th and 10th seed, right? So that's another thing. I just think this is the wrong season to implement this kind of format. It's rushed. We've already seen a plethora of injuries for the players this season, and that could be due to shorter training camp, more runtime, more games in less nights. So it's definitely a grind.
COVID injuries.
COVID
taking people out, so you have to play more.
And AD and LeBron are just coming back. They're not comfortable. The team obviously is frustrated. They've dropped maybe 6 of 7. There it is. They've dropped 6 of 7. It's not a good time for them. Obviously, LeBron is going to come out and say, I mean, I don't think he should have went as extreme as he went. Should have been fired. Like, who are you to say who should be hired or fired?
That's what I mean, bro.
I understand that.
But I feel like society's made it okay for this guy to just come out and say you should get fired for that. It's like, yo, LeBron, you have millions and millions of followers. You have people who they'll listen to anything that you say, man.
And like, that's the unfortunate part. So it's not about what LeBron says or doesn't say. It's about how society allows him to, or doesn't allow him to say. Yeah, but
he should be cognizant of the fact that I have a platform that has this many people and I influence this. He knows this. Mm-hmm. That's why LeBron doesn't just go put his name on anything. LeBron can go transform a business overnight. It could be the crappiest product. Yeah. You throw the LeBron logo, that's a multi-million-dollar business. And he knows that. Mm. So when you go on and say this guy should be fired, come on, bro.
Tough. Not the exact.
You're such a baby.
Not
you
the right
signed
thing.
off on this.
I think what's I honestly I agree with LeBron and his opinion on it as a player. I don't agree with his statement saying he should be fired. Who knows what? Like, I'm sure it's not one person who made that rule. Baby. It's a bunch of people. It is great for a casual viewership. It's great for fan viewership because it creates so much more excitement. That 1 to 10 table in the West. That playoff series, every single playoff series in the West is going to be exciting because the teams match up so well, even in the play-in. We saw it yesterday. They're all great matchups. So it's exciting for a fan. For a player, I understand his frustration. And it hasn't only been LeBron coming out saying these games are lame.
It's whoever's in 7th.
Whoever's in 7th. They don't want to do it.
Whoever's up
They don't want to do it. What I'm going to flip it, honestly, and go to a different statement that LeBron made. Because I don't know. I don't disagree with this statement. A lot of people and a lot of players. I saw Candace Parker and Grant Hill comment on this, and they almost refuted LeBron saying this. LeBron was saying they're asking him how he'll come back or what percent does he think he's at coming back from his ankle injury, and he went on and said, "I don't think I'll ever be 100% LeBron."
Weird flex.
Weird. Okay, yeah, weird flex, but okay. Kind of weird for somebody to say that in general, but LeBron loves creating the narratives, loves creating the stories. Always maybe wants to put some sort of cushion for himself to fall back on in case he doesn't win the championship this year or whatever it may be. A lot of people disagree with this statement, saying, "Oh, LeBron, he's just coming back. He's frustrated." To be honest, I believe it. I don't think he's going to be 100%. And because when you're 37 years old, 36 years old, coming from an ankle injury, we've seen him go through 2 major injuries in the last 3 seasons. One of them was the quad. This season has been the ankle. That's made him see severe time away from the game. It's your body. Your body as you grow older, no matter who you are, it's Father Time. Always wins. Undefeated Father Time.
It just so happens that he combated Father Time for a while, but
he was able to do it maybe.
And he still is, bro.
No.
He put 25, 8, and 8 this year.
Don't get me wrong. A 75% LeBron is still head and shoulders above 90% of the league. Like, there's no doubt. He's just that great. It's just I don't think we're ever going to be able to see 100% LeBron. He's not athletically there enough anymore. We've seen him miss and get rim stuffed at dunks that we've never seen that before, but we saw it this season.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's ever going to be that healthy, and that's not a knock on him at all. I think he's still going to be great, but like we said before earlier, they could have used a Kyle Lowry. They could have used somebody else for LeBron to really lean on. And then now you have AD coming back from injury, who
he looks terrible.
He looks
he's had their lowest plus minus.
Let me read you something here. AD has shot 39% since his return, lower free throw rate, and a lower percentage of his shots coming from in the paint. What did I tell you? He's shooting more. He's tired. He's not comfortable. He's not playing his game as much as he used to.
I think he's just not even tired. I think he's afraid of physical contact now.
That's why he went to the 4.
Or he's shooting more. Like, he doesn't want to bang it in there with the bigs. Like, especially this year, there's a lot of very, very good big men.
Oh, and they're
higher
all in the MVP candidacy right now. So for the Lakers, it's going to be a very interesting playoff push and playoff run that they're going to make. Adding Andre Drummond, everyone thought that was going to be a great acquisition, and I'm sure it is. Having a player of his talent is a great acquisition. But seeing AD and LeBron come back from injury has been extremely tough. I am a bit concerned about the Lakers, especially given, the Clippers are low-key. They've been low-key doing very well. Denver Nuggets have been hot. Which, let's get to the Denver Nuggets right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
They've won 9 out of the last 10 games, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Even with Jamal Murray being out, I thought that was going to ruin their chances for the season.
They've been hot since.
They've been hot. Michael Porter Jr. picking up the slack. Austin Rivers, who, when I saw him get signed, I thought that was a great signing for a team like Denver.
Yep, for sure.
I don't really know why the Knicks let him go. I think
Campazzo's been great.
Campazzo is like one of my fan favorite kind of players.
He's exactly what Pablo Prigioni wanted to be.
He's pesky. He's smart. He knows how to play the game. He's been a professional for a very long time playing overseas.
No, he's 30. He's a 30-year-old rookie. That means he's been pro for at least 15 years.
Exactly. So he has experience, and he gets into guys' grills. Like, he's been getting into beefs with guys like Damian Lillard and all these other star point guards. I love it. So they're a very well-rounded team. I love what their coach Malone. What he had said. He's like, "What did you think? We're going to fold when Jamal Murray got injured?" Like, bro, we're still a really good team.
Mike Malone's a boss.
I love Mike Malone. He's been great.
Did you know he's DeMarcus Cousins' favorite coach of all time?
No surprise. He's been looking at him.
They had him and Malone had the best relationship, and they're about to turn the whole franchise around. And they fired Malone overnight. Yeah,
the Kings love doing that. But they're sitting at third right now. Jokic's MVP case has been as strong as it's been all season.
Oh, I mean, at this point, if he just doesn't sit out, it's over.
There's people calling for it, right? There's people calling for it. I think
ESPN does a bunch of those like mock things too,
with the power rankings,
real people,
the power rankings, right?
But this one, the one guy legit did a mock one, like where all the voters got a chance to do like a mock.
Wow, okay.
And it was a slap, bro. It was like Jokic cleaned house.
Deservedly so. Even players from other teams are tweeting. Mainly the European guys, but they're tweeting Jokic for MVP.
That would be crazy for Europe.
For Europe and for the big men. When have we seen, the last time we saw a big man win MVP has been a while.
Duncan, Shaq.
Shaq early 2000s. Yeah, Shaq definitely won an MVP.
I don't know which bigs won.
Kevin Garnett won in the early 2000s. I don't know. Dirk, maybe the last one in 2011
I don't even know
or something. In the early 2010s, maybe. Maybe that's the last big man that won an MVP. But the Nuggets just look like a great team. I'm hoping that that's not just a regular season team.
Yeah,
I don't know how you feel about the Nuggets, if they're going to be just a regular season team or a playoff team.
Unfortunately, I do think they're going to be a regular season team only because at the end of the day, you still don't have Jamal Murray, who last year in the bubble was out of his mind, like bananas. Like, he put up 50 points 3 times in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Jokic is a lot better than he was last year. Michael Porter is a year older. So I do see a lot of value there.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, just with the way the conference is laid out, like, they're going to have to go up. I think they're sitting 3 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to go up against the Clippers again in the second round, right?
Yeah.
Last year they came back from 3-1 against the Clippers. I don't think that happens again this year. If the Clippers go up again 3-1, which I think the Clippers are better this year than last year because you had Rondo.
They learned a lot,
and Rondo has transformed that team. So I think they are better than last year.
Yeah.
And I don't see them giving up a 3-1 lead with the roster that they have right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could be wrong. People probably said that last year. We can never see it. But without Jamal Murray going up in the West, it's tough. I think they'll maybe win the first round, but
you don't think Michael
Porter
you don't think Michael Porter Jr. can make a big enough impact to, and keep in mind they have Aaron Gordon as well, so they've got a seasoned veteran in there as well,
who's never been to the playoffs.
Never been to, no, he's been
who's never won a playoff
series, sure, but you've got guys who have won playoff series and have been deep playoff runs.
I don't think it's Michael Porter Jr. What I will tell you is we brought up names like Austin Rivers and Campazzo. I don't think those guys are going to be factors come playoff time.
Really? I think those guys will be the factors come playoff time.
I don't know.
I think
in
those
a 7-game series, I don't see Campazzo in his first ever NBA playoff run at 30 years old being a factor. Like he kind of like reminds me of JJ Barea, but JJ Barea was been in the league for like 5-6 years up until that run where he had the great run with Dallas when they won.
I think it hits different when you're an older rookie, especially a 30-year-old rookie. I think the experience that you already have definitely does come and plays a factor. I think Austin Rivers has played big minutes in big playoff games, especially most recently with Houston, alongside
the Clippers,
James, and with the Clippers. So I think if anything, those are going to be the guys. I'm not saying those guys are going to be stars, but those guys might be the X factors and might be the guys to really push you and help you over the edge. The Denver Nuggets have a great team. 1 through 5, 1 through 7, 1 through 8. You bring in guys off the bench; they're great. They've got size. I know Jamal is a huge loss for them, a guy that they depend on, immensely, right? So it's a huge loss, but I think you are slightly underrating them. I think they can take the Clippers. I don't think it's going to be a slap of a series. I think it's going to be like a 6 or 7 game series, but I definitely think they could get the nod. And back to my point, the last 7-footer to win an MVP, I don't think Giannis is 7 feet. I think he's 6'11". I'm not going to give him that big man title, really. He's not really a big man. Dirk Nowitzki, 2007.
Yeah.
So that's 13 years ago.
One more thing, too, to add with big men is if you really think about it, big men don't sell even. Like outside of Shaquille O'Neal,
no,
like it doesn't sell. But right now you have 2 of the top guys. I'd really love to see next year Embiid's going to be in a lot of commercials. I feel like Jokic's probably selling crazy in Serbia. But listen, we're already over tons of time, so I think I want to say one thing before we end.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Phoenix freaking Suns.
Yeah, man. Wow.
Eclipsing
unexpected.
right now the mark for the best record in the NBA. This is as miraculous as it gets. Phoenix has been the laughing stock of the NBA for the last decade plus.
Yeah,
last year in the bubble they came and they went 8-0 and everyone was like, okay, this team is, they've grown, they're serious. And now you look at Chris Paul, Chris Paul with that team. But what I want to look at is the young core, man, of Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, and DeAndre Ayton. And those guys are here to stay. They're young, they're gamers, and I'm excited for the playoffs just so I can see Phoenix play.
Bro, Bridges, I think he's a restricted free agent at the end of the season.
Already?
I don't know if it was this year or if it's next year, but I saw it must be this year because I saw a report saying he can ask for $20 million a year. So contract season, Bridges, it could be.
I don't know. I'd have to look at that. He's so young.
He is so young,
Yeah.
but there was a report about that.
One thing I want to say about Bridges is a funny draft story before we end it, but he is from Philly. His mom worked for the Sixers.
Yeah.
And the Sixers actually drafted him 10th overall, and he was hyped. Started making living arrangements, and 10 minutes later, he got traded to Phoenix. Back when Phoenix was trash, he was upset. Freaking fast forward 3 years, he's like the main guy in transforming this team. Yeah. He's definitely still on a rookie deal. He's young.
He's not a restricted free agent until 2022. So next season.
Yeah. So him, Cam Johnson, and there's another name I'm missing, but also DeAndre Ayton. I love that whole team. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Monty Williams, James Jones, everything about that organization. But
shout out to CP. CP making an MVP case in his 15th, 16th year in the league. He's proven that he can go to teams and turn them around, and he had mentioned bet on yourself. He had mentioned slow grind. So what we've seen from CP the last few years, shout out Freddie and Isaiah Thomas. But what we've seen from CP the last few years, I know before he reached the Thunder and he had played with Houston, he was getting a lot of hate as being little bit of a dirty player, a little bit of a
Not a winner.
not a winner, or whatever it may be. But I think he's turned all that around. Honestly, definitely, you can put him up there in the MVP race, especially because they're first in the West, first in the league. I would toss him in there. I don't think I'll give him the edge over Jokic, to be honest.
Definitely not. Or even Embiid.
Or even Embiid. Not over Embiid. Debatable. I think you can debate it. I will put him at number 3 as well. But shout out that team, and that team is making noise.
Absolutely. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, jam-packed episode today, so I hope you guys enjoy it. You know where to find us: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Insta, Facebook, and Twitter. Wherever you go, like the pictures, you can find us. We are brought to you by the Ball is Life Podcast Network, and we will come at you guys